Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something real. When did we start believing that love was something we had to earn? When did we start thinking that in order to be chosen we had to perform, to please, to prove? Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that our value comes from being needed, wanted, or kept around. But I'm here to challenge that belief today. I'm here to tell you that your worth is not up for debate. You were born valuable, worthy, and deserving of love that feels like peace, not pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that constantly tells us to do more, give more, be more, just to be seen. But the truth is, the more you chase love, the more you lose yourself. And love should never cost you. The most dangerous thing you can do is make someone else the mirror of your worth. Because when they leave, when they withdraw, when they fail to see your value, you begin to believe you're not enough. But that belief is a lie, a deep, damaging lie. It's time to shift the narrative. It's time to stop begging for love like it's a luxury you don't deserve. It's time to stop waiting for someone to recognize your worth before you finally believe in it yourself. You are not a second option. You are not an afterthought. You are not someone who should have to plead, perform, or be in pain just to be loved. Real love doesn't require a performance. It doesn't keep score. It doesn't ask you to shrink so someone else can feel bigger. Real love is mutual. It's consistent. It's effortless in the way it chooses you. Daily, openly, completely. And if you haven't experienced that kind of love yet, don't lower your standards. Raise them. Because here's the truth that too many people forget. You set the standard for how others treat you. The way you talk to yourself, the way you honor yourself, the way you choose yourself, those are not just acts of self-care. They are declarations to the world of what you will and will not accept. And when you finally know your worth, truly and unapologetically, you stop begging for love. You stop chasing validation. You stop settling for halfway when you deserve the whole thing. So ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just about relationships. This is about reclaiming your power. This is about remembering who you are before the world told you otherwise. This is about rising above the pain, the patterns, and the people who made you question your value. The days of begging are over. The days of shrinking are behind you. What lies ahead is a version of you that stands tall, loves boldly, and accepts nothing less than what you truly deserve. So let's begin. You were not created to beg for love. Let that sink in. You were not placed on this earth to shrink yourself into someone else's idea of worthy. You were not made to spend your days trying to convince someone to stay. When love becomes a performance, a constant game of proving your value, it's no longer love, it's survival. And love should never feel like survival. The moment you feel like you have to earn someone's attention, the moment you start doubting whether you're good enough for their time, their care, or their affection, that's the moment you need to stop and take a hard look at your reflection. Because that reflection staring back at you, that's someone who deserves so much more. You deserve to be loved without conditions. You deserve to be chosen without hesitation. You deserve to be seen, heard, respected without having to beg for it. The truth is, some of you are pouring your entire soul into people who only give you half-hearted attention. You're chasing someone who's running in the opposite direction. And every time they come back with just enough affection to keep you hopeful, you call it love. But deep down you know it's not. Real love doesn't keep you on edge. It doesn't leave you guessing. It doesn't confuse you. It doesn't make you feel small. It doesn't make you compete with silence or justify mistreatment. Listen closely. If you have to beg for it, it's not love, it's control. If you have to constantly prove you're worth staying for, that's not relationship, that's emotional poverty. And I know why you've been doing it. You think if you just hold on a little longer, they'll finally see you. You think if you love them hard enough, they'll wake up and realize your value. But the truth is, love isn't something you earn. It's something that's given freely by someone who sees you, values you, and chooses you without needing to be convinced. Stop trying to win a heart that's not even open. Stop accepting breadcrumbs and calling it a feast. You deserve the whole table, not leftovers. You don't have to beg for someone to love you. When the right love finds you, it won't ask you to abandon yourself. It won't punish you for being emotional. It won't drain you. The right love will feel peaceful. It will feel safe. You will feel like home. But before you can have that love from someone else, you've got to stop betraying yourself for temporary validation. Stand tall in your worth. Don't just say you deserve better, start acting like it. Because you do. You deserve love, not pity, not pain, not pretense. Real love, whole love, a love that sees you and never let you forget who you are. Love should be given freely, not earned through pain. Love was never meant to be a reward for suffering. It's not something you earn by breaking yourself down, by staying silent when you're hurting, or by accepting less just to keep someone close. Love is not a prize for those who tolerate the most pain. It's a gift, and if you have to suffer to receive it, it's not love at all. Some of you have been taught that loyalty means enduring emotional starvation. That if you just stick around long enough, if you're patient enough, the other person will change. So you keep giving, you keep hoping, you keep waiting for someone to finally treat you the way you've always deserved to be treated. But while you're waiting, your self-worth is being chipped away. Peace, let me tell you something that might hurt, but it's the truth. The longer you stay in spaces where you have to prove your worth, the more you start to believe you have none. And the more you believe that, the more you tolerate mistreatment, excuses and inconsistency, all in the name of love. But real love doesn't ask you to bleed to be seen. Real love doesn't hurt you just to hold on to you. Real love does not come wrapped in confusion, chaos or cruelty. You were not created to be a placeholder. You were not created to be someone's backup plan, their comfort zone or their emotional punching bag. You were made for more, so stop shrinking yourself for people who can see your light. Love should feel like peace, not pressure. It should feel like freedom, not fear. If being loved makes you feel anxious, makes you question your value, makes you afraid to speak your truth, then that's not love. That's trauma, wearing a mask. The right person will not make you feel like you're asking for too much just because you want honesty, consistency and affection. They won't punish you for having emotions. They won't make you chase the bare minimum. And here's something powerful. The love you accept is a reflection of the love you believe you deserve. So if you've been accepting less, if you've been begging for crumbs, maybe it's time to go inward. Ask yourself, why do I believe I have to work this hard just to be loved? Who taught me that pain is a pathway to love? Because that belief is a lie, and it's time to break it. You don't have to suffer to be loved. You don't have to lose yourself to feel chosen. You don't have to dim your light just to keep someone near. Let love find you where you are fully you. Let it come without force, without begging, without pain. Because real love is not earned through suffering. It's received through truth, healing and self-respect. Your self-worth sets the standard for the love you accept. Let's get one thing clear. You are the blueprint. The way you treat yourself, the way you speak to yourself, believe in yourself, respect yourself, that becomes the standard for how others treat you. When you raise your standards, you don't lose people. You lose those who were only comfortable taking advantage of your low ones. You might feel scared to walk away from someone who's giving you just enough to keep you hanging on. You might fear being alone, fear starting over, or fear that you won't find better. But here's the truth. Being alone with peace is far more valuable than being with someone who constantly makes you question your worth. You can't teach someone to love you by accepting their neglect. You can show someone your value by letting them devalue you over and over again. People don't change because you love them harder. People change when they decide to, and that decision isn't yours to make, but your standards are. If you don't see yourself as worthy, you tolerate things that go against your spirit. You'll explain away red flags. You'll make excuses for poor behavior. You'll stay in places where your presence is not celebrated, only tolerated. But when you know your worth deeply, unapologetically, you become untouchable in the best way. You stop chasing closure and start creating it. You stop proving yourself to the wrong people and start choosing yourself over and over again. And this is where the shift happens. You realize that you were never hard to love. You were just loving in the wrong direction. You were trying to pour oceans into people who only brought empty cups. You were giving love from a place of lack, hoping someone would see your heart and finally give it back. But now you choose differently. You choose to love yourself first, not in a sacred way, but in a sacred way. You protect your energy. You trust your intuition. You stop begging and start becoming. And when you do that, something powerful happens. The love you attract mirrors the love you give yourself. It's no longer about chasing someone who might stay. It's about standing still and watching the right person walk into your life because they recognize your light, your peace, your power. So if you're listening to this right now and you've been begging for love, I want you to stop. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Pray now, because you are already worthy of the kind of love that doesn't need convincing. You are already deserving of a love that sees you, values you, and chooses you without conditions. Never forget, you teach people how to love you by how you love yourself. So love yourself enough to walk away. Love yourself enough to wait. Love yourself enough to never beg again. Because the love you deserve will never make you feel like you have to earn it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a breath. Take a deep breath and let every word settle in your spirit. Because everything you just heard, it's not just a speech. It's a call to remembrance. A call to return to your power. A call to stop handing out discounts on your worth like it's negotiable. It's not. You were never meant to beg for love. Never. Not in this lifetime, not in any version of your story. You were meant to be loved, fully, freely, without performance, without pain, without pleading. That truth is your anchor. And now it's time to live like you believe it. So many of you have been taught that love is a prize you win after suffering enough. That if you just stay quiet, stay small, and stay loyal through the chaos, you'll eventually be rewarded. But love doesn't work that way. That's not love. That's emotional manipulation disguised as affection. Real love honors you, real love respects you, real love chooses you without hesitation, without games, and without making you feel like you have to shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. You were not made to be anyone's emotional doormat. You were made to rise, to radiate, to be loved in the exact fullness of who you are. And if someone can see your light, don't dim it. If someone makes you question your worth, walk away. Not because you're bitter, not because you're weak, but because you finally understand this. You don't have to prove your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. Let this be the moment you stop chasing and start choosing yourself. Let this be the moment you stop waiting for someone to validate you and start validating yourself. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not unlovable. You are enough exactly as you are. And here's what happens when you walk in that truth. The love that's meant for you will recognize you. It won't feel forced. It won't require suffering. It will feel like peace, like safety, like home.